Hey everyone, Ashley May and Mike Beer here with the Daily Racing Forum. We'll take a look at race number 10 this Thursday out at the Great Race Place, Santa Anita Park. The 10th is the Grade 1 Brea, 7 ace on the dirt, 4 3-year-old fillies, and a big field here, Mike, 11 horses total. And to me, when you're looking at the 7 ace races, obviously there's more in this race than the Mailloux, but thought this was a little bit more wide open.
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of horses to make cases for in this race. It's a very, I think it's a very interesting race. And of all the graded stakes races on the card, to me, this might be the most interesting one because there were a lot of good horses in here that might be fair prices.
We'll take a look at the Time Form US pace projections for the Brea, and you can see a fast pace expected, which might help the likes of the 4 Sugarfish. You can see has the LP flag, but the 1 Splendora has shown early foot, the 8 Sandy Bottom as well. And then horses like Kinza, she's been very fast. I know her last 2 have been at 1 mile and a 16th, but she has sprint-like speed. The cut back to 7A should be just fine for her.
Yeah, she's very interesting cutting back in distance here. You have the layoff to deal with her, not only with her, with a couple other horses in this race too. So there are layoffs to deal with. There are horses cutting back in distance, several of those. There's just a lot going on in here. As far as the pace goes, yeah, I mean, I guess it's the more I looked at it, the more I think this pace really could be fast.
We will start it off here with a replay for the number 1 Splendora, who was able to win last time out decisively. 6.5 furlongs it was at Del Mar for trainer Bob Baffert. Juan Hernandez was aboard in this race. And I know it's a compact field. I guess it bodes well that the runner-up comes back to win next time out. But, she seems like she's one that's been able to progress. She had a lot of time off between her second, I shouldn't say second, but her 2-year-old campaign and her 3-year-old year.
Yeah, missed a lot of time after, she was just no match for her stablemate Kinza in the debut last December. Missed a lot of time, but she's come back with 2, really good performances. We just watched that last one. I mean, she just facing only 3 others, Ashley. She just had that field over a barrel right from the start. Easy lead in there, never really gave him a chance. She's a pretty tough read here because she hasn't really had to work hard at either of the 2 recent wins. And obviously, this is a way, way tougher spot.
Right. And it's kind of confusing when she's done it so easily if she's going to be able to stretch out a little bit, but also she's going to have other speed. And you wonder what the 2 accuracy is, what she's going to do in this spot. We'll take a look at her most recent effort. Another sort of dominating performance when you look at accuracy, who's now been able to have 2 consecutive wins. The light bulb's gone on and they end up being really easy wins. She's going to actually finish in front of one of her rivals in this spot who ends up having post 5 in the Brea, Ultimate Authority. Tail swishing, it doesn't seem to matter, but this is different. This is a mile at Del Mar.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sort of flashing that tail a little bit, but running right through it. She just smashes this field. She buried that field 2 starts back with a big figure. These are the kinds of horses who can be really dangerous cutting back to 7 when you already know that they can get a distance of ground and they have speed and they're cutting back in distance. These are dangerous horses. Obviously, on figures, she's going to be really tough if she can run either one of those last 2 starts, but she might take some money in here. This is a real class test.
You mentioned figures. 2 starts back when she graduated, something that you don't see that often, especially with the fillies, a 107 Beyer speed figure for her 15th length win. Now, another horse that shows speed cutting back is the 3 Kinza, who is a stablemate of Splendora. She was second last time out behind Nothing Like You in the Santa Anita Oaks. It looks like based on her performances, I don't think she did anything wrong. I think she tired last time out, and it was a while back in April, but a horse that, again, 7 ace should actually really work to her advantage.
Yeah, I do like her cutting back for this. I wonder where she's been since that Santa Anita Oaks. I wonder if there was an issue. I think there's at least a chance that Baffert just sort of felt like she's not really going to stretch out, so we're not going to point her to the Oaks in races like that, and maybe just give her a little bit of time here. I will say this: when she won the 2 grade 3s around 2 turns at the second and third starts, she had some pretty easy leads in those races. They didn't really make her go fast. She was just sort of dominating those fields on easy paces. But she has just such an easy way of going. I don't think she needs the lead to be effective. I really like her cutting back in distance for this. It's all about whether or not she's ready off this long layoff.
The 4 Sugarfish is also going to cut back in distance quite dramatically from 1 mile and 1/8 last time out in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, where she never really got going in that event. And she's going to race with blinkers on here, Mike. I guess I'm a little concerned for her about 7 ace against this group with so much speed. We saw that she has the LP flag, and you kind of just look at the spots that she's performed well when she was able to win the grade 2 in the Summer Oaks, or she won the Zenyatta. I'm a little worried against this group if she can do it.
Yeah, she's definitely got something to prove still against this quality of competition, but maybe she's just a little bit underrated. I mean, she did, pull off a couple of mild upsets, I would say, when she won those grade two races going longer. I don't really feel like you're supposed to hold the Breeders' Cup against her. I don't think she was ever going to win that race. The last time they went 7 furlongs with her, I know it was a maiden claiming race, but she absolutely buried that field from just off the pace, and she's gonna have something to run at here. They're gonna go fast in front of her.
The 5 Ultimate Authority is just going to make her second start since March. Last time out, she was no match for Accuracy, who she has to face again. For me, that makes her a little bit of a tough sell just off of it. But there's also the upside that she is just making that second start since March 9th.
Yeah, very lightly raced, and as opposed to some of the other horses in here, she's got a start off the layoff last time. Obviously, she was no match for Accuracy, but at least she's got a race under her belt now. She gets to cut back in distance a little bit for this. She's lightly raced, and she's just going to have to take a step forward.
The 6 Kopion, we haven't seen her since April 6th when we saw her finish 4th in the Santa Anita Oaks. Obviously, she's had a long layoff, not usually a concern of mine for Richard Mandela trainees, and a horse that's really taken love at the windows every single time, Mike. I know she didn't go off favorite in her last 2, but she took a lot of respect in those shorter fields and was no match for Kinza 2 back. And then last time out, I just felt like she chased throughout and just really just flattened late.
Yeah, another horse who it feels like maybe distance just didn't really work for her. A lot like Kinza too. I mean, these are two fillies who, to me, anyways, when I was looking at those races early on, two fillies who feel like they have worlds of potential. I think these are two really talented fillies, but they're both coming off of very long layoffs in here. I do same as I feel with Kinza, Ashley. I feel like sprinting is going to be better for Kopion. They're going to cut her back for this. It's all about whether she's ready off the bench.
The 7 One Magic Filly, she's really not trying anything new necessarily. She's a horse that's raced consistently at 6.5. Last time out, tried 7 ace in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. And I'm not sure what to make out of that effort. Obviously, she's a 3-year-old filly who's always faced the older fillies and mares throughout her career. And you look at how it played out, Mike. I mean, Soul of an Angel rallied from last. Pleasant Society, they were close to the action. I think it was just a tougher group. And in my opinion, getting against 3-year-old fillies at this distance, she seems very live in this spot.
I agree. All of her races are good. Even before the Breeders' Cup and her Breeders' Cup, there's nothing wrong with that performance. There's a chance they go fast in here. Actually, they're not going to go as fast as they did in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint. They were flying in that race. She ran fine in there, and she went into that race in really good form. And she's another one of the fillies that I look at her and feel like she wants to be up close, but she does not need the lead to be effective. So I think she can get a really good trip in this race. I wonder what kind of price she's going to be. I don't think I would go too low on her. She's a major player in this race.
The 8 Sandy Bottom we saw last time out has actually been able to keep that win streak alive. 3 for 3 so far in the career. She was able to win a stake 2 back. That's all the way back though in October of 2023, and last time off the long layoff. She was ready to roll, but she did take them gate to wire, and to me, she did look a little tired in the end, going 6 furlongs.
Yeah, I agree. She had a right to get tired in there. It was first start off of a very, very long layoff. The flip side of that is, man, she got a very easy lead in that race. They just sort of let her clear to the front. Nobody really challenged her until they got into the stretch there, and she just had plenty left when Tamara finally came to take her on and managed to hold on. I thought she ran fine. I'm not going to knock this horse, who was undefeated on the way into this, but this is clearly the toughest race she's ever been in, and she's just going to have to run a lot faster early and still manage to hold on going 7 furlongs.
Curious to pick your brain on the number 9, Hope Road, who's done very little wrong in her career since going to the barn of Bob Baffert. She is 4 for 4. Has been able to rattle off those 2 consecutive grade 3 wins. And she didn't need the lead 2 back in the Torrey Pine. And then more recently, she was forwardly placed. And she was still clear in there. I know Alpha Bella was only a half a length behind her, but those races were at a mile. And I'm just curious here, what's the tactics? I think, in my opinion, Mike, curious to see if you agree. I don't think she needs the lead, but another one that should be close to the action.
Yeah, it does seem like she wants to be up close. And so we'll see if she's comfortable having to chase. It does feel like, at least in this race, she's going to wind up having to do some chasing in here. And I know that she's, on a big win streak here for Baffert. But those races weren't nearly as tough as this one. And you can just look up, she's odds on in every one of those starts. I mean, she was sort of supposed to win, and she did. That's probably not the case here. She's still the morning line favorite. I think she's a morning line favorite at 3-1 here. I'm just going to try to beat her if she gets bet. I won't be surprised when she wins.
The 10 Tamara was second in her return to the races. We'll show that replay really quickly. We talked about Sandy Bottom getting the lead. No one really wanted it. And Tamara, everyone was expecting her to win this. She was 40 cents on the dollar in this spot, Mike. And I think it was a fine return. Obviously, we hadn't seen her in over a year, but you just felt like she was going to get by, and she never did.
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting too because you can say, well, listen, it was her first start in a year, and she just comes up short. The problem with that is the Sandy Bottom was off of an even longer layoff in there, and she couldn't get by her. She ran fine in that race. They didn't get really aggressive with her early. She did run through the stretch. It did feel like maybe one more jump, and she gets by. But it's not like she had some big excuse. And now you're just in a position where this horse had a huge reputation as a 2-year-old. Obviously, the pedigree plays into that, but the first 2 starts were really visually impressive. She totally bombed at the Breeders' Cup. She misses a lot of time. She, I think just ran maybe an average race off the layoff last time. And I don't know. I'm still questioning how good she actually is, Ashley. And I really don't think she's going to be some kind of great price in here.
And wrapping out the field is the number 11 here, the 4th entrant for trainer Bob Baffert. She's undefeated in 2 starts in her career. A daughter of Nyquist. I mean, she's done nothing wrong at the mile distance. I just felt like looking at her other stablemates, most of them, they've already gotten that test for class. And I just felt like maybe out of all of them, actually even looking at the inside runner, she was probably the lesser of the bunch.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, and I say that as someone who thought that she ran really well in each of her first 2 starts. I really like both of those performances. I don't mind her cutting back to 7 in here. I'm probably not betting her.
Top pick time here for the Grade 1 Brea Stakes. As we mentioned, race number 10 this Thursday out at Santa Anita. And you'll go to the 3 Kinza here, who is trained by Baffert. She's 8-1 on the morning line. We haven't seen her in a while, Mike, but obviously she's run some I should say terrific. I almost want to say phenomenal, but both of those words at once. I mean, she's done really nothing wrong. And she seems like out of the Baffert horses, maybe you'll get a little bit of a price on her.
Yeah, I'm hoping that she goes off somewhere near that morning line. I really feel like she's really, really talented. I do think she's a sprinter. We'll see if she's ready off the layoff, but if she is, I think she can go with these horses.
When we talk about this being a sprint, ton of pace on paper, at least in my opinion. I just wonder if the 7-1 Magic Filly gets the setup that she needs. I think last time out, obviously, much deeper waters, facing some really tough fillies and mares. And I like that she can sit just off of it. So hopefully the pace comes back to her. But with so many horses cutting back in distance, such as the 3 Kinza, it makes it a wide open edition of the La Brea. 3, 6, 2, 7 for Mike, 7, 9, 10, 2 for me. Race 10 this Thursday at Santa Anita. Good luck.